bringing you another 3v3 for the Operation Market Garden Mod and Company Heroes. Let's jump into it. The map is New Tanteville, and on the Axis side, we have Stormtrout in the middle. He looks like he's starting with a fairly support weapon heavy start. He's also got some pioneers. I imagine he has something that he wants to build early on. Contrasting with that, we have Ick on the right. He has a fairly mobile sort of close quarter start, what with the Knights Crossholders and the Officer with their Sturmgewehrs and some Storm Pioneers with their MP40s. And a Geschützwagen to back it up for anti-tank with the Panzerschreck. And on the left here, we've got Whiskey Jack with his Panzer IV backed up by some support weapons and some Pioneers. Over on the Allied side, we've got Roby Man starting on the top. He's also got a tank here. He's got a Sherman, so that's going to be an interesting matchup against Whiskey Jack's Panzer IV to see who can outmaneuver the other. Whiskey Jack is also starting with a motorbike to try to scout ahead, so he will probably become aware of Robyman's Sherman before the other way around. But Robyman has some mechanized infantry to back up this Sherman. That's an OMG unit. They get a sort of a buff from being near other vehicles. In the middle, we've got another Sherman, and really this is sort of par for the course for the meta for the time being. The current meta in OMG mod, there's a lot of medium tanks on the Allies. So we will see if this game pans out, seeing more of these. We've got another Sherman in the middle from Area. And then on the right, we've got UK Paramax playing as the infantry. He's got a very heavy infantry start. He's got some Rangers with bazookas, backed up by BAR riflemen and an anti-tank gun. So let's unpause it and get going, see what happens. So, as we can see here, Stormtrout also has a motorbike coming to scout down the middle, as does Area. He's got a Jeep. So we'll see who spots whom. Whiskey Jack does in fact find Robyman's Sherman. So he's going to bring that back to save the bike, keep it from getting shot up. Meanwhile, the motorbike in the middle has also found the other Sherman. So the Axis is now aware that they are facing against two medium tanks against Whiskey Jack's one. Although Whiskey Jack does have the Blitz Officer inside, so that will give him a little bit of an edge in the one-on-one. Over here, UK Powermax is moving onto the right flank with his infantry. He wants to be careful because if he keeps advancing, he will be facing two players over here. The Axis are more concentrating on the right, whereas the Allies are staying concentrated in the middle. So it looks like the Allies are just sort of trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, where to probe up, whereas the Axis are sort of spreading around and circling. Looked like UK wanted to build an early machine gun bunker, but he got found by the Sturm Pioneers from Ick and has stopped them. Wonder what UK's attention is on right now. It's certainly not on his units. They're getting mortared and picked apart by these Sturm Pioneers. Wants to pay a little bit better attention. Meanwhile, over at the top, the Panzer IV has been found, so the Allies are now aware that that's what they're going up against. Looks like Area has shifted his anti-tank gun in response. Now we have a full infantry engagement over here on the right. The Sturm Pioneers are getting overwhelmed by the rest of UK's infantry, but there is an off-map barrage coming down from Ick's Terror Officer. However, that incendiary barrage is very slow to come down, and it might have actually been a decoy barrage. Looks like it's not going to come at all. So that was really just sort of to try to force UK's troops to move back. Meanwhile, in the middle, Robyman is getting very aggressive with his Sherman. That is his playstyle. He likes to be very aggressive. He's got his mechanized infantry trying to get up here to take out this anti-tank gun, but to no avail. The Sherman does die to the Panzerschrecks and the anti-tank gun, and without the buff from the Sherman, the mechanized infantry lose their suppression resistance and are now pinned down by this machine gun. So he's going to want UK to get in here and back him up with this infantry. But Ick now has his Knights Crossholder dug into this building, and with all of this infantry injured from that mortar hit earlier, UK is going to have to be really careful. Got some grenades going off, but the KCH easily dodged that by hopping out of the building and back in. Here comes the other Sherman. The pack gun is set up in an ambush position, and a double hit from the Panzer IV and the pack gun on the Sherman is going to force him back. Stormtrout looks like he has dropped a Panzerschreck on the ground with this Grenadier. We'll have to see if he picks that up before the enemy can get a hold of it. But meanwhile, good play from UK. He's got another Flamethrower Engineer on. I believe the other one was either killed or forced off, but Flamethrower engineers are good against buildings and good specifically against nice crossholders, so he's able to do quite a lot of damage to these squads. Killed off one guy, and now he's moving up to see if he can see what's going on, but it looks like the actual terror barrage is coming down now. Before that was the decoy, but now we've got the real thing. Perhaps? Yes, there it is. So that forces these engineers back and out of the fight. Over on the top here, Robyman's making a probe up with his rifleman, runs into a machine gun with one. However, he has two squads that are not next to each other. So he's able to sort of spread those apart, have one take the fire, and the other one try to chase down this mortar. However, Whiskey Jack is smartly, one, using his motorbike to try to push the rifles around, and two, run the mortar into the path of the machine gun so that the rifleman would get drawn into it. However, it was in vain. The riflemen do manage to take out the mortar team, and since it was not set up, that is the entire mortar gone. And Robyman is mission accomplished here as he tries to bring his rifleman back. But, you know, trading one rifleman squad for a mortar, that is more than a fair trade. So Whiskey Jack is going to try to regroup with his machine gun and Panzer IV now that that cover has been destroyed. Meanwhile, over here in the middle, Stormtrout has set up a mech bunker. Looks like the Axis is just sort of regrouping, getting dug in here. He's got a machine gun team sort of idle in the back here. He wants to get that set up. Here it goes. Meanwhile, UK Paramax has brought on a sniper. This is a very early sniper. He's only got 27 population here to work with. And this sniper, I believe, is 6 or 7 pop, just the one man. So that is taking up a significant portion of his population. We'll have to see how well he's able to back that up with these injured infantry squads and the new flamethrower that's coming on. Oh, excuse me, that's the same flamethrower. They have gone back to build a triage center to keep these troops healed up. Probably a smart move because this infantry is pretty banged up. Meanwhile, on the Axis, Stormtrout seems to have indeed set up some bunkers with those engineers that he started with. We'll switch to his perspective here and see if we can find them. We've got the medic bunker, the Panther term, and if he's starting with 2 engineers, it's almost sure that he's got some more. Meanwhile, he's setting up some sandbags, smart, to replace the cover that was destroyed from the machine gun. He is going to want to, if he can, before the engagement starts here with the Sherman and infantry, set up some barbed wire on the front of this so that it can't get turned around against him if he gets pushed off, where the allies can use the sandbags from the other direction. So it looks like the allies are moving up again. Robyman's got a lot of vanilla infantry, as he tends to do. Puts all of his munitions into a handful of things and then just throws men at the enemy, which he is doing now. Stormtrout moving his mortars out of the way of the counter battery from Area's mortar, and Area, meanwhile, using his cheap injured rifle squad to screen for Robyman's healthier rifles to see where the machine guns are. Unfortunately for them, they have the Panzer here, as well as 2 machine guns, one here and one here, to head off that attack. Thankfully for the Allies, Robyman did have his AT gun in position to ward off his Panzer, but he took a lot of damage to these riflemen for very little progress. Area's moving his Sherman over to engage the Panzer, but Whiskey Jack sees that coming with his scout motorbike, making really good use of this scout bike. And speaking of scout bike, earlier I did see but not point out, Ick has his sniper on, so we're going to see this sniper duel between this sniper and there's the counter snipe. I suspect that Ick did not know that UK's sniper was on yet. So perhaps it was a preemptive play, suspecting that Ick might bring it on. And Ick congratulates the effective counter snipe. So the bike, the bike will now need to be utilized effectively to sort of keep the sniper in check. Because at the moment, the Axis don't really have anything to counter it with Ick's sniper off the field. Robyman's rifle still being attrition down by, I'm assuming, some more mortar hits. Yep, those mortars doing work on the Allied infantry this game. Meanwhile, on the right, UK is just sort of solidifying his hold on the northern end of this town here, just sort of creating a buffer zone for his sniper to work around in. This is a little bit dangerous because this is a close quarters area. It can be difficult to use snipers in this finicky line of sight. But I'm sure he does see from this building this Axis infantry moving around to the right from Ick. So we'll have to see how he keeps an eye on that. But meanwhile, Robenman's riflemen continue to be thrown to the wolves, just sort of as a screen for other units. In this case, the anti-tank gun trying to get some hits on the Panzer IV. I believe that is out of range. Wants to be careful with this machine gun moving up. But he does have his own machine gun in position to sort of protect against these Volks that are trying to chase that down. Sherman is coming up to help out. It's got the self-repair active from the armor doctrine, so that's going to top it off a little bit before he gets into this engagement. He now does have more health than the Panzer. Combined with Robenman's anti-tank gun, that could make a big difference in this engagement if they're able to work together. There is an off-map barrage targeting this machine gun from I'm not entirely sure what. Let's go to the Axis side and see if we can figure it out. Is that Terra officer somewhere? I'm not sure. Maybe it was an off-map. But either way, this Panzer is looking to be in trouble. Not sure where the anti-tank gun is. There it is. It's moving up. But does not have line of sight on the Panzer, excuse me, so it is just shooting at these Volks who are no longer here. But that was some very effective trades from Area's Sherman. Got a lot of damage on this Panzer with very little damage in return. Area's Sherman looking very nice with 444 hit points compared to about half as much for the Panzer. But Stormtrout is now setting up a repair bunker to go with his Panther-Term and medic bunker with a machine gun in it now to sort of lock down in this area. To go ahead and get Whiskey Jack's Panzer all fixed up, so nice timing from that. And additionally, Whiskey Jack is setting up his own, so this Panzer, you can see the health ticking up. It will be in fighting shape before too long. Robenman's infantry still just getting picked apart by these mortars. These rifles are not having a good time. Meanwhile, UK pushing up in the middle to retaliate against this very aggressive Panzerschreck squad from IK, trying to get some hits on the Sherman. This is a very aggressive unit to try to scout with. No, it wasn't that. He was trying to get the anti-tank gun. And he does manage to decrew it, but for his efforts, as well as some damage on the gun, he loses the squad. Not in love with that trade, especially because he turned over a Panzerschreck to a relatively healthy squad from UK Paramax. While there's sort of a lull in the battle, he's definitely want to go heal that from the triage, which is not there anymore. I missed that. The Axis somehow managed to take out that triage very early. Maybe that Panzerschreck squad had something to do with it. So that is a big win for the Axis pretty early on. Hopefully, for the Allies, the other players have some healing stations of their own. But that is sort of the advantage that the Allies have is that healing building, whereas the Axis have superior repairs. And speaking of, this Panzer is now good to go with a little bit more hit points than the a lot more hit points than the Sherman. Sherman has taken some nasty hits while I was looking in the other direction. Speaking of Shermans, Robenman is making a very aggressive play in the back lines using his Jeep to scout out. He does see the Nebelwerfer on the field from the Axis. IK's Knights Crossholders, I assume these are from the beginning of the game. They're not looking too good after that shot from the Sherman. They still have their two men from before. Looks like Robenman is just going for the Geschützwagen. The Geschützwagen does not have great penetration, but at this range, especially in combination with the pack, and apparently the Panzerfaust off the Knights Crossholders, does get some pretty good hits in. UK's M10 coming in to back up this Sherman, as well as Area's Walking Wounded Sherman over here. Don't know what it's doing going to the north, but the flanking maneuver from the M10 has gotten the gun off of the Geschützwagen, almost got it killed, however, and then finished it off from the Sherman. However, the motorbike from IK is keeping it trapped so that Stormtrout can try to get his pack gun in position. However, Area's Sherman triggering his defensive smoke grenades to try to decrease the accuracy on that pack. At that range, it's not going to matter, but it does allow UK's M10 to get away, and the Panzer coming in to mix things up, and a howitzer barrage coming in from UK Powermax. He is infantry doctrine, he does have access to the howitzer, coming to destroy this bunker. Stormtrout trying to get his machine gun out in time before it's destroyed. Meanwhile, this anti-tank gun is just in real bad trouble as Area dances around it in every direction with his Sherman, and also manages to block line of sight with the Panzer using these hedgerows. So it looks like with that hit, that's going to decrew it. Yes, it does. So that's that out of the way, and now the only obstacle, really, that the Axis has that I can see, we'll switch to their perspective real quick here, is that Panzer. Now, both of these units are very injured, the M10 and the Sherman. So they're going to want to try to get out of there. M10 wastes its shot against the motorbike. The target priority a little bit questionable there. And that is the M10 dealt with. However, as a last sort of parting revenge, the M10 did manage to crush somebody's officer there, so that's a little win. Those officers can be a big nuisance if you don't manage to wipe them out. Robyman, I believe, was there trying to capture... Yes, Robyman was there trying to capture this pack. The crew was wiped out. However, thanks to a bug that you might see from time to time, it did slide forward a little bit because it was on the move already when the crew was killed. So, both sides bringing on reinforcements after that very chaotic battle. I'm not entirely sure who came out on top there. Allies lost a lot of tanks, but I think the Allies also probably accomplished what they were trying to do as far as just knocking out some assets here. Got the med bunker, got the Geschützwagen, although it has been promptly replaced by 2 more. Nipoverfa barrage coming down, and I'm not entirely sure what. See if there's anything running off right now. That rifleman, not entirely sure. Maybe used from this AT gun. This pack gun has been reclaimed by the Axis. Stormtrout has that now. And the Panzer IV is still in the field, fairly banged up, dancing with a little bit of danger if UK is able to get this Panzerschreck squad in place, but he does not. Calliope barrage coming down from Robyman, also forcing the Panzer back. Those can do some decent damage against tanks if they get some good hits in. So that forces that back. Whiskey Jack making an aggressive push up with his Volksgrenadiers in this building. Got a gun in every window, shooting at these riflemen who are suppressed from... I'm not entirely sure what, actually. I don't see any machine gun from this machine gun here. But we have a new Sherman on from area to take on that Panzer. However, it is going to have to contend with these Geschützwagens as well as that pack and this 57mm, which has been taken. So we'll see how that matches up. Meanwhile, Robymen bringing on some more anti-tank. They do see sort of the volume of armor that they have to deal with now, although I don't know if they have to be aware of this Geschützwagen because they've shot it. I don't know if they know if these are different, because the Axis does have 3 repair bunkers on now to fix up these tanks very quickly. As you can see, the Panzer IV is up to 29 kills now. Great work from the Panzer IV for Whiskey Jack. And it's been fixed up yet again from the repair bunkers. You can see its maximum health is going down bit by bit, but he's getting a lot of mileage out of it in the meantime. Another artillery barrage coming in from UK's howitzer, all the way up to 13 kills. In 2 barrages, that is not bad at all, especially because he just took out an enemy anti-tank gun that frees up some maneuverability for Area's Sherman to have a little bit of breathing room. Pushing it over to the left to try to back up this infantry that's in danger from this Panzer, but the Panzer is backing off. Robyman moving his Calliope around, perhaps getting in position for another barrage, because it's not really under threat, so I think the only real reason to move it is to get ready to shoot it again. Stormtrout, while I wasn't looking, did manage to cordon off this whole north side. Something goes down here. What was this? I don't know. A half-track, it looks like? Maybe that was an incursion half-track meant to destroy this med bunker with some engineers or something. These do look like vehicle crew, so I'm not entirely sure. But as I was saying, Stormtrout managed to cordon off this whole entire north side from both infantry and tanks with the barbed wire and the tank traps behind them. So that is going to limit what Area can do with the Sherman. It is repairing itself with the vehicle crew repairs. So hopefully for him that will fix up the engine, which is currently damaged. But in the meantime, the Panzer IV is just having its way with Area's poor riflemen without any assistance from just about anybody. Area moving back with a mortar, not sure if it's a retreat or he just managed to claim that. But regardless, he definitely wants to get this out of danger from these new grenadiers that Stormtrout has got on. Robyman's still probing about with the Calliope. Let's see if he's getting ready to do a shot. He has some ripe and juicy targets all clustered around over here. So perhaps the Allies are just waiting to get line of sight on a good target. Let's see what they can see. They know this pack gun is here. They know these grenadiers are here. getting pinned down by this machine gun, but the machine gun packs up for reasons I am not fully aware of. But here comes the Calliope barrage, probably on this pack, but the pack is moving. Now there's two of them, so they see both of these here. I don't think they managed to get... No, they did not manage to get. They damaged it, but they did not kill any of the crew. And meanwhile, this anti-tank gun has been not only decrewed by the Volksgrenadiers, but is now going to be captured and turned around against the Sherman. The Sherman is already very damaged. It's got this Panzer IV coming down on it. It wants to back up immediately. It's got its rear armor turned around. It does not back up. It just turns around. Rear armor hit. It's in damage. Roman trying to bring in his Sherman, probably going to try to put the mine flail into action to just sort of get this mixed up. A very dangerous thing to do, but at the very least he can draw some fire. UK coming in with the Sherman Crocodile to try to decrew that AT gun. It does work, and Roman bring up a new anti-tank gun to push back this Panzer IV. It does move back, but it still has plenty of targets to shoot at, as it does. New mechanized infantry coming on from area, but the Sherman that would have buffed them is no longer on the field. Roman recrewing this anti-tank gun. He needs to get that turned around immediately before that Panzer IV gets away and is able to just recycle its health yet again. Is he going to get a hit? He does. Nice rear armor hit, good chunk of damage, down to 260 health. That wear and tear is really starting to show. But these two Geschützwagons from IK are now coming up to, I'm not entirely sure do what, because it's not going to do anything against these anti-tank guns. Maybe try to get some hits on the Sherman? At the very least, provide some field presence, but area's shock mechanized infantry coming up, they don't have a whole lot to contest them if they're able to get past this machine gun. Grenade overshoots, only takes out one man, but not the man on the gun, and now it's going to suppress them without a vehicle buff to keep them resistant to suppression. The Panther Term now getting in the fight, shooting at the mechanized infantry. They are pinned down. Unless there is a grenade off of one of these, another grenade, looks like they are going to be forced off. 40 kills now on the Panzer IV. Offmat coming in, does decrew the anti-tank gun. Obermann's Sherman Calliope also taking a lot of hits. I guess from the Geschützwagen. There's a dead Geschützwagen here, not entirely sure what that's from. Pack gun has been, I believe, crewed. There's so much going on, it's easy to miss. Somebody managed to get some hits on the crew on this howitzer, which is now up to 16 kills. But it looks like whatever that was, perhaps this Puma, has been dealt with, I guess, by this anti-tank gun here. Vet 2 anti-tank gun from UK does have a light vehicle kill, so I suspect that is what happened. But Whiskey Jack smells blood. He's going for the Sherman Calliope. I assume that's what he's moving up for, or at the very least to back up Stormtrout as he captures this anti-tank gun to turn it around against whatever it is the Allies might have. It is in fairly good condition, so it doesn't have to worry about repairing it too much. Just trying to get it safe behind the lines. Stormtrout does manage to capture this mortar. He's not very unlikely going to be able to use it, but at the very least he does deny it from the enemy, which is always a big win, because mortars are so important in this game, where you're able to deal damage without taking any in return. A new Sherman. What did I say? Expect a lot of Shermans from this game. We do have two armored players, so that I suppose is to be expected. We've got all the mechanized infantry from area and then the Calliope from Overman, so those are two armored players. So Shermans abound. The Panzer IV down to 300 health. Another Calliope barrage coming in on the Panther Term, on the Sherman. The mortar team does get away. Looks like he has a defensive sprint. Defensive Doctrine can purchase sprint for its support team, so he does manage to get out of the way. Stormtrout has a lot of pioneers on. I imagine he wants to accelerate repairs or build more bunkers, not sure what, but this Sherman eating this machine gun that's being thrown to the wolves just to delay the enemy, presumably not being packed up so that it doesn't get destroyed like we've seen some other weapons get destroyed while they're packed up. Crewing some weapons with these pioneers here. Good use of these when they are sort of out of things to build. Stormtrout, however, packing up this mortar to try to get it away. Not entirely sure if I'm in love with that, because one good shot from the Sherman or the howitzer. There it is. The Sherman takes it out. It's off the field. The gun is gone. Motorbike goes down. This pack that was recrewed by the pioneers goes away again. Not to very good effect, and now that's going to let Robymen crew it again, which is going to make this Geschützwagen's life very difficult. Big hit, brought down to about a third health. Robymen again bringing up the Calliope. I'm not entirely sure what for. Perhaps it's a mistake. Got to be careful, because there's all these anti-tank guns in position from the Axis. You can't see this one, but they have to know that it's at least somewhere. They've been going against so many. Then this Calliope definitely needs some repairs. If somebody has some... Aha. some repairs, but Ich managed to get a Geschützwagen and some Pioneers behind the lines and has taken out the howitzer from UK Paramax. Pioneers probably killed off the crew, and then with the crew being gone, the Geschützwagen was free to target the gun directly. New sniper on for the Axis. I don't know what happened to UK sniper, but I imagine it has been defeated, because I have not seen it in a while. So we'll have to see what this new sniper does for the Axis. Panzer IV still in the field. 47 kills, a tank, and 2 light vehicles. It is getting that bread, as the kids say. I'm sure the Panzer officer inside the Panzer IV is certainly helping in that respect. Anti-tank guns just sort of making a show of force as they move up, trying to destroy these hedgerows here so that they can get line of sight to destroy this repair bunker. Looks like they've already got one. That is definitely a high priority for the Allies right now, especially because they've lost their healing and do not seem to have replaced it. They need to stop the Axis from recycling these tanks, so they're making some very aggressive plays with these anti-tank guns and with the Sherman to try to do that. Sherman is going to go down, it looks like, to this anti-tank gun or this Panzer. But he was able to get line of sight, at the very least, to target this repair bunker with the anti-tank guns. Nice snipe from the... I don't know if that's what it was actually shooting at. It might have been shooting at the repair bunker, and an unlucky collision hits the bike instead. That is how this game technically works. Sherman coming around, spots this other repair bunker. Calliope barrage, very good Calliope barrage coming in. He sees the 88 as well, which is very important. The 88, with its massive range, is in range to kill this anti-tank gun, with Whiskey Jack's suppressed Volksgrenadiers providing line of sight. Sniper now moving up, not much damage on the 88, however they did decrew this anti-tank gun. They're aware of this repair bunker here, they did destroy this repair bunker here, so a fairly successful incursion there. I'm not entirely sure what happened to that M10. Here it is, M10 going for the Geschützwagen. The Geschützwagen does not have a turret, but looks like the Panzer and the 88 are able to save the day. Geschützwagen is going to live for now, but very injured. Another mechanized infantry push from area, trying to get this 88 decrewed, see if they can make it. But with the Panzer and the sniper shooting at them, I think that was a friendly fire kill from the Panzer IV. Took out the 88, trying to shoot at the mechanized infantry. Unlucky there. But with the anti-tank gun in position, it's not likely that 88 would have survived anyway. So unfortunate, but ultimately probably an inevitable outcome. Sniper from Ich has joined the battle. It has 2 kills now. There are two snipers on from the Axis, actually. One from Stormtrout, one from Ich. So, Allies, we have not seen very many Jeeps from the Allies. A couple Scout Jeeps, but not any big anti-sniper call-ins. So I imagine with 3 American players, at least one of them has to have something like that in reserve, and they're probably going to want to bring that out sooner than later. Want to isolate the units that are, deprive them of the units that are supporting these snipers, and then send the Jeeps in to take them out. Ich very boldly moving his sniper uncloaked to get him into position. And additionally, he's running up his terror officer, I imagine to try to get some barrages off. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Here it comes, targeting all these riflemen. The riflemen are moving, they're going to get through that no problem. It's a long delay on that barrage. Now the officer is in trouble. It's suppressed and under fire from the Sherman, but the Sherman is going for the sniper with its mine flail, taking a lot of hits from the various anti-tank. Officer's going to run off, and the Sherman with the mine flail goes down to the anti-tank gun, no problem. Unfortunately, UK's rifles were not able to decrew it in time. Sniper does get away, and the intrepid Panzer IV is still in the field with 51 kills now. What a hero. Still joining the fight, picking off these riflemen, which ordinarily would have the edge in this engagement at close range against the Volksgrenadiers. With all of this combined arms support, the machine gun, the sniper, the Geschützwagen, the Panzer IV, the other sniper, these riflemen are just basically there to delay the enemy while UK brings up more infantry. With these Rangers here, I suspect he might have the idea to use fire up on the Rangers, the BAR Rangers. I don't think they have bazookas, yeah. As one option he might have available to deal with that sniper. Robyman's Calliope sitting with 8 kills, not bad. He has decrewed some important weapons with each barrage, so even though it doesn't have very many kills, it is being useful at the optimal tactical moment. However, I mean, with this engineer here, he has to repair this thing. Like, what is Robyman doing with this engineer? Maybe going to lay some mines. Here comes the anti-sniper call-in. So perhaps Roverman is using his sniper. You know what? I think he's using this one-man engineer as bait. We'll see if the sniper takes it. He does. Sniper has revealed itself. The jeeps are on the move. AT gun set up in position to try to stop them, but it does miss. One sniper's down to the jeeps. The other sniper takes shelter inside the half-track. So that one is going to be safe for now, but that is one of two snipers dealt with this anti-sniper call-in from Roverman, and two jeeps do seem to be making it away. We'll see if they can get around these tank traps here. But spending 2 out of 4 jeeps to deal with a sniper, very good. Very good trade. And UK has a sniper on for himself now. I believe this is the second sniper from UK, right? That was his that was on at the very beginning of the game. So 2 snipers from UK. That is quite a big investment and quite impressive that he managed to keep them alive enough to have to. Here comes another Sherman Calliope barrage from Roverman. Takes out this anti-tank gun. Decrews it at the very least. 12 kills now. That's the whole crew gone from that. Rangers under fire from the Panzer IV. Gonna have to back off. Take a lot of damage from those HE shots. Sniper moving up under support from all of this infantry on the right here. Some mechanized infantry trying to flank around this machine gun. We'll see if the Panzer IV has anything to say about that. I suspect not, because of this anti-tank gun, which has been decrewed. If they realize that, he needs to get aggressive and get in there to back up this machine gun. Machine gun looks like it's going to get away. These mechanized infantry do not have a vehicle to provide them with suppression resistance. Meanwhile, over here, the Geschützwagen has its gun destroyed, I imagine, by this Sherman, as the anti-tank gun has just been crewed, and now decrewed again by Ick's sniper. Ick being very aggressive with the sniper. Let's see, UK has not revealed his. It has no kills yet, so I think UK is waiting for the opportunity for the counter-snipe. It looks as though the Axis is not aware that UK has the sniper on yet, because Ick is still firing freely with his... Whoa, look at this aggressive move from Sherman's almost dead Sherman Calliope, going for the Mine Flail Crush, but not going to pay off. The sniper takes shelter inside the half-track, and the Calliope goes down. I do not understand why they did not repair the Calliope. Surely somebody had some engineers that were idle for long enough to fix that thing up. Very questionable, in my opinion. But Ostwind, in a poor matchup against the Sherman here, Ostwind does not do very much damage against these Shermans, but at the very least it provides a body for them to deal with, while the Panzer might go down now. Speaking of the Panzer, 56 kills, 2 light vehicles, 4 tanks. The main gun is destroyed, and it goes down to, I believe, the Panzerschreck went off first. Heroic Panzer. Did he lose the Blitz officer? I didn't see. I don't know if the officer was inside. This might be it. Yes. So Whiskey Jack did manage to get the tank commander out of the Panzer before it was destroyed. He can recycle that, bring it onto another Panzer. But a lot of value out of that Panzer IV. Think about the number of tanks the Allies have brought on to varying effect, right? But, I mean, we've seen them cycle through so many Shermans this game, right? At least half a dozen by now, and there's 3 on at the same time from Roverman and Area. Meanwhile, that one Panzer IV was on 4 on, one from UK Powermax. Meanwhile, that Panzer IV was on for the whole game up to this point. Just the one. And now, in its place, Whiskey Jack has brought on the Tiger tank. He's going to put his officer inside that to give it the officer buffs. So we will see how that matchup goes. I'll be honest, depending on what anti-tank comes into play, with 4 Shermans on, that does not look good for the Panzer IV. 4 Shermans can easily take on a Panzer IV. That said, the 3 Shermans that I can see here are short barrel Shermans, which is definitely going to... Well, I cannot tell. I think this might be a long barrel Sherman. Are these? I might not know what I'm talking about at all. Either way, we'll have to see how it plays out. Stormtrout just sort of throwing some infantry in to try to decrew this anti-tank gun so that his Tiger tank can engage these Shermans head-on, which is where it has the advantage. The reason why these Shermans, what the Allies need to do with these Shermans is basically engage for the front from some to keep it busy, as well as the anti-tank gun, and then flank around to either side with these other Shermans. At the moment, they perhaps don't see an opportunity to do that. They're not sure what the Axis have in reserve, but besides this anti-tank gun, the Axis do not have very much in reserve. They are being steadily pushed back, bit by bit. Over here, I imagine the bulk of the concentration, bulk of the action has been concentrated on the left side here. So I imagine UK has just been free to sort of cap this uncontested, or at the very least, he's won some minor skirmishes. But Ick looks like he is sending a Volk squad to go check that out, see what happens with that. Keep an eye on it. Ick is bringing in a saboteur. I do not. Well, okay, they do have a triage center that he can use that on, but I suspect Ick might be running low on things because what the Axis really need right now is fighting units. Stuff to take out the anti-tank. At the moment, they're just sending in infantry to die, trying to take out this anti-tank, but, I mean, this isn't going to do anything. Maybe he's trying to find the triage, I'm not entirely sure. Just some sort of suicide scout. Robyman has a sniper on right now. I think we might have missed another sniper death, because Robyman's sniper has 3 kills, and I do not see the sniper from Ick anymore. Let's switch to his perspective and see if he still has it. He does not. Yes, he does. Yeah, it's right here. So Ick's still sniper. Ick's sniper is still on. And the Sherman might get the crush on the sniper, or the sniper might get away. Looks like the sniper's going to get away for the moment, and is backed up by some motorcycles. So if one of these enemy snipers tries to counter-snipe, it will reveal itself to these bikes. Sherman moving around, trying to get some maneuver play, stay out of the way of this Panther Trim that's being built. But the Panther Trim goes down. The Tiger is taking a lot of damage, but it is still slowly but surely forcing off this Sherman. That one goes down. This Sherman coming to kill these bikes to protect the anti-tank gun from being decrewed, but the anti-tank gun is decrewed, which is going to open up the opportunity for this Tiger to move in. Definitely starting to get the advantage here. Saboteurs sitting next to this anti-tank gun, just keeping line of sight on it, but it does go down. I don't know if he has a weapon, but the saboteurs do go down, doesn't get the triage, and now Area moving his anti-tank gun to a different position, moving it to the left, moving it away from this elite infantry, from Ick. Ick trying to gun down this anti-tank. He does get one. He's going to try to sit with the Volks, but to no avail as UK sniper opens up, kills the man. One man cannot man an anti-tank gun, but Ick still being very aggressive with these Knights crossholders, manages to flank out the machine gun. The machine gun has to fall back. He's going to gun down this rifle squad so that it cannot crew any more anti-tank guns, and now it's going to stick in cover, see if he can do enough damage to this anti-tank gun to decrew it. But the Sherman comes in, destroys its cover. It is now exposed to this machine gun. See if they get suppressed or if they get away. They do get suppressed, which means the Sherman, if he stays in this area, will be able to do considerable damage, but it is going to back off. Not sure what the anti-tank situation is from the Axis. So he is going to back off as Ick brings his cloaked pack into position. The Tiger did take a lot of damage there, and it only got one killing blow out of all those Shermans, but it did do its job at the very least. Outside of the context of, the combined arms supporting it, it went 4-on-1 against Shermans, and managed to come out on top, more or less. And so in the meantime, he is trying to destroy this anti-tank gun. So I gather that the Axis are running low on crews to grab it. There is a Volksgrenadier squad back here, which could crew it, but honestly, I think with only one Sherman left that the Axis are aware of, and the Axis running low on infantry as they seem to be, they probably want to keep this on as a squad that can just sort of have some field presence. That said, UK throws a last-ditch grenade before he pulls off the field, does manage to severely damage this machine gun crew as well as kill one man. So that's going to complicate the machine gun's efforts to lock down whatever it is they attempt to lock down. Motorbike scouting around, spots this anti-tank gun for the Ostwind and the Tiger tank. Keep an eye on where that is. Vet 3 anti-tank gun. I do not know what bonuses that gets, but I'm sure it is worthwhile. Very impressive from Area that he's managed to sort of keep this crew alive across all of his games. It is a fresh gun, though. It only's got one kill. And the sniper is on the field from somebody. Ix is gone. Another sniper death that we have missed. Whose sniper is this? Stormtrout, switching to him, has gotten the out of units notification. So he is all on field. I'm just cycling through the players to try to find who has the sniper. Ah, here it is. It is UK's sniper, so we'll switch to his perspective to keep an eye on that. UK also seems to be all on field. Makes sense. He's got a pretty tight group here. The Allies they've been keeping the Axis on the back foot for most of the game, right? So the Axis have been losing pop for a long time. The Allies do have significantly more pop, which means at 40 pop, this is all UK has. Let's see. This is, what, 6 pop, 6 pop. The Rangers probably a little bit more. So we'll call that a 14, 20-something, and then the sniper. It's probably a good 30-something. Well, I can just see it right now, right? That's how this game works. He's gone 30 or 40, so yes, he's definitely out of units. Little lull in the fight here. Ooh, this has been action-packed so far. UK, I'm going to catch my breath for a second, probing up with his sniper, see what he can see. If he can get some shots on this pack gun or this mortar, that would be advantageous if he could whittle either of those down to protect his own anti-tank gun. Gets a shot off on, I think, the Volksgrenadiers. Playing a little bit risky, but at this stage of the game, you know, you're looking for that decisive play to finish off the enemy. The Axis, even though they appear to be running low on units, the Allies are as well. And the Axis have sort of regained the center front line, so I imagine they're probably gaining pop right now. We'll switch over to the Axis side and see what they're up. They're up to 30 pop now. So they are in fact gaining pop, right? They had 28 before, they're up to 30, so they're slowly gaining that back. Knight's Crossholder, one man left, managed to flank out that machine gun, but the machine gun from whoever this is, I guess probably Ix machine gun, goes down as well. Ostfin moving up to try to destroy the triage center. It is almost dead, but he has to be careful with these Rangers. The Rangers, taking some bazooka shots, do not manage to kill very much with it, but the triage center does go down. That's a big win at this stage of the game because the Allies need to be as efficient as possible with their infantry as you sort of get to this attritional stage where every single unit matters, and that's going to make a big difference. Especially as UK Sniper as well sort of slowly gets injured and has nothing to heal it. Unlike Axis Snipers, it can't equip a medkit to keep itself healed, so that is also going to, I think, make a difference. Area's Riflemen trying to get at some of these support weapons, but under the fire of this Terror machine gun, which gives itself an accuracy bonus when it shoots, in addition to other units that are shooting at it. Going to keep that locked down. He's going to get out of line of sight of that, and just sort of probe up on the left here to see what's going on. Something goes down here. The Ostfin goes down to this 57mm. There is a tank kill on that. So that's one big obstacle out of the way. However, this Tiger is still in the field, and there is... Ooh, that's a MG bunker. I think all of the repair bunkers have been dealt with, so it's just this one Pioneer from IC to service that. This machine gun out in the open does manage to decrew the Terror machine gun, which is going to leave these infantry free to move in and try to decrew this pack. Additionally, the sniper from UK does take out the KCH, 15 kills on the sniper, not too bad. Got a big repair party of Pioneers and Sturm, I believe these guys are repair, yeah, Sturm Pioneers, to try to desperately fix up this Panzer IV, not even worrying about wear and tear at this stage. You just need to get some hit points on it so that I can join the fight. Take out this motorbike, excuse me, this Jeep that is sort of probing and providing intel. Can keep an eye on this pack if it gets close enough, and keep an eye on the position of the Panzer so that they can keep their anti-tank guns where they need to be. This crew is very injured. It can go down to just a couple shots, and it does. Got some Panzerschreck squads to damage the gun. That's definitely something the Axis want to do. The Axis want to use these Panzerschrecks to the best that they can to destroy these anti-tank guns, decrew them, and then blow them up so that the Allies do not have a reply to this Tiger. The Tiger is now up to half health. A decent, almost 500 health now, so that is, unless, you know, in the face of special AP rounds from these anti-tank guns, definitely going to be enough to let it do some damage, get a little bit more aggressive now that it's no longer on the verge of death. It's not invincible by any means. Just a moment, folks, my phone is ringing. Anyway, where were we? That Tiger getting aggressive now, picking off the remains of these riflemen who are down to one guy each. That's not what you want to see, because that makes it difficult to recrew these AT guns once they've started to go down. Let's switch to the Allies now, see what the status of these potential squads they can crew with are. That anti-tank gun destroyed by the Panzerschrecks. They still have one left over here. Area still has one anti-tank gun left. But if we lose too many more of these rifles and we lose the crew of that, then there's nothing really left that I can see to recruit again except for rangers, and that's not what you want to do. You want to keep these rangers on with their bazookas so that they can protect the anti-tank from getting flanked. That's sort of the important combo that you have there. This weapon decrewed from the Panzerschrecks and the machine gun shooting at it. We've got a mortar from Stormtrout, probably going to try to work on this anti-tank gun, which I think is pulling off. Area retreats the crew, retreats this machine gun. I think the Axis might have this in hand, which is, I will be honest, rather surprising, because the Axis have been pushed back. Yep, that is the GG from the Allies. UK perhaps trying to see what vengeance hits he can get with his sniper up to 22 kills. But I think what might have happened here is something that you see sometimes, where the one side is pushed back, they're working with less population for a large amount of time, whereas the other side is working with more units. If that side that's being pushed back is able to hang on... Uh-oh, UK wants to get this sniper out of here. The Rangers... UK just milking the sniper, get as much as he can out of that. Wants to be careful. Panzerschrecks actually have a big damage bonus against snipers. But as I was saying, if the side fighting with fewer units is able to hold on, right, and sort of trade efficiently as they can, the enemy runs the risk of inaccurately estimating the number of units that the enemy has left, right? Because they have been fighting, they've been doing more with less, which means they have more units in reserve than the other side thinks. And I think that is what happened here. You can see, just sort of looking around on the map, the field presence that the Axis have. They've got all of these units on the field, when before they were pushed back so far and had so few units. They had just enough in reserve that the Allies burned all of their units being aggressive and pushing the Axis back. That they didn't have anything left to deal with this Tiger once they lost all of this anti-tank. And so UK just sort of milking the game out, trying to hunt some vet for his sniper, get as much XP as he can. And he is somehow managing to do so, but I think his luck might be about to run out. The Pioneers reveal it with a shot. Panzer finishes off that Ranger squad. Rangers trying to come in to draw some attention. They do, but the Pioneer gonna run down the sniper. They are killed 180 no-scope from the sniper, close range. Let's see what the Axis have left over here. That, you know, saying how much... Oh, here's a fresh Panzer IV. I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. Yeah, the Axis have plenty. Finishing up the cap here. Not a whole lot this Volk can do. So, just the sniper and these 4 Rangers left from UK, but we are sort of in the cleanup phase, so we'll just go ahead and accelerate this. No sense in watching this cat and mouse. Sniper goes down. And that's that. Probably the 2 sniper call-in from UK is done for now, because the resupply on those is very slow. Whew-wee, what an intense game. I am out of breath from all of that fast-paced action. Oh, so that's the game, folks. I think I already sort of gave my analysis there. Axis pushback, we're doing more with less, had plenty of units in reserve, and the Allies burned all their units pushing them back. And the Axis were sort of able to take advantage of that to regain the front line, get their population back, manage to equalize it to 40 and 40 here. And that's what did it. So, quite the game. Thank you for posting this, Whiskey Jack. It was very intense, very enjoyable to watch. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And I'll see you in the next one.